Reconguista NG is a beautiful, incoherent, confusing train wreck of an anime series. I both love and hate this one at the same time. I love it for its unique art style, which is also a callback to the original Mobile Suit Gundam. I love the mobile suit designs, and I love the battle scenes. The story, on the other hand, is just way too slow and way too confusing, and it's bogged down by way too much frickin' space jargon and techno babble, a lot of which that I frankly just don't understand. A lot of this stuff is going right over my head, and I'm a pretty seasoned Gundam fan, and I just find that kind of strange. Luckily, this week's episode was like 95% action and 5% story, and the story is a lot simpler this week. Basically, Bellry's mother has finally met up with Bell and the pirates. They're finally getting ready to talk, and they learn that something is going on the moon. Someone's building some WMDs or something. And then the other part of the story is that Manny, that's Lou and Lee's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, I don't know, they haven't really specified, has decided to be a part of the Capital Army so that she can spy on both Lewin and find out what's going on with her friend Naredo and, of course, Bellry. And that's pretty much it. But everything else is raw, badass mobile suit action, and what I think I really loved about it is we're finally starting to learn what the gimmick of the G-Self Gundam is going to be. It's going to be backpacks! It's going to have a lot of cool backpacks. We've already seen the one that changes its color to purple and has all the panels all over it, which it uses to deflect beam weaponry, and now we have this one this week, which is this big, giant, pink clamshell thing, but it actually has a number of cool abilities. One, it allows it to move a lot quicker. Two, it can actually use it to block people's attacks and literally counter them, sending them away, flying over them. But its other ability is it actually can fire this ghostly afterimage of itself, which basically looks like the translucent version of the G-Self in beam form, and it actually disrupts the weaponry of other mobile suits, giving it a chance to either attack or escape. Otherwise, the other cool surprises this week are the Armor Zagon. You remember that mobile armor from last week? It can transform. It's awesome. So, it can also be a destructive weapon of death, it can transform into a massive mobile suit, and it can actually act as a vehicle for other mobile suits, just like the Montero, which Klimnik uses this week, and Klimnik always does something cool, whether it be his beam javelin or his weird frickin' spears that he throws out. That character is always really interesting, and even Ida this week was great. But the thing that still gets to me again is the story. I don't know if they're trying to make it funny or if they're trying to make it serious, because in Gundam, sometimes it's either one or the other, and sometimes it starts out really funny, like in Double Zeta Gundam, and then by the second half it gets really deathly serious again, so maybe that's what they're going for here. I'm not really sure. I was kind of hoping that, you know, with Gundam Build Fighters Try going on, that this series would try to be the exact opposite in every way and try to go back to the gritty style of old school Gundam, and in many senses it does. This is a Tomino Gundam anime, but just there are moments where I'm just like, wow, I just don't know whether to take this seriously or not, because an intense mobile suit battle goes on, the middle title card comes up, and you see the characters doing these ridiculous dances, which are really well animated. They just sort of take me out of the whole mobile suit battle, and then when we finally cut back, we have this scene where Ida is about to kill Bellry's mom, and she doesn't really feel all that bad about it. She even has a funny scene where she lies to Bellry about almost accidentally killing his mom. And that scene where she's flying in, I was almost fully convinced that she was gonna die in this week's episode. It just seemed like it. If this were any other old school Gundam anime, her head would have been on the frickin' chopping block and she would have been destroyed. But no, luckily Bellry just catches her, the plane somehow does not explode, and everybody's happy. That is until the end of the episode when she freaks out and learns that things are going on the moon. She's trying to get her son and all her friends back to the Capital Army, and we all know that's definitely not going to happen. It's pretty obvious that Bellry is going to be joining the Pirate Corps. Otherwise, that's pretty much it, so what's the rundown? On this week's episode of Gundam Reconguista NG, it was a good one. Really confusing when they get to the story, but that action stuff, It's really good. That was definitely the best thing about this week's episode. Just the mobile suit designs and just how ridiculous they are and just the transformations they're going through. There's a lot of transforming mobile suits in this series. I especially still love the Elf Bullocks, which are being used by the Capital Army, in particular Lewin Lee. Just the way his mobile suit contorts itself to fire its lasers are always funny. The brand new backpack for the G-Self is awesome. If you actually look at the ending of the series, they already tease and pretty much just spoil a lot of the other backpacks that it's going to use. And I was going to hope it was going to be using one of the big gun ones. But still, I'll take the big pink clamshell. It's pretty cool. One thing that I did think was really clever about this week's episode was the theme of parenthood, because we got to see the return of Ida's father and Bellry's mother, and they got to come together at the end and talk with each other and figure out what the hell is really going on, and even they really don't know, and they're keeping everything vague, and they keep using names that I just don't understand. But still, this episode was still pretty good. It had a lot of action, and if you're into that type of thing, just watching robots beat the fuck out of each other, then check out this week's episode. But it still is hampered by some slow storytelling and all of those annoying moments with Araya and her stupid fish, which she keeps torturing. I don't know how long she is going to act like this, but I really hope it isn't for much longer, because it's actually kind of starting to get on my nerves. Otherwise, like I said, this is still a pretty decent episode. Watch it for the action and try to pay attention to the story. This is one of those anime, though, that, maybe by the end we'll finally start to understand everything. Everything will just fall into place. It's not like this is the first confusing Gundam anime to ever be made before. It's just it hasn't finished its run yet, and I really haven't had a chance to sort of soak it in like a sponge. So I think that Reconguista NG is going to be a series I'll appreciate a little bit more when it is fully done and finished and the story is there. But until that happens, this was just the way it is. It's still confusing, but it does have some awesome action. Thank you for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and like the video. If you guys watched this week's episode of Gundam Reconguista NG, please tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. Did you have a favorite scene from that big mobile suit battle? And what's the deal with the moon? What's really going on up there? If you guys have not subscribed to our channel, you can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.